And we are live here on my podcast show. Like always, my name is Ron Payne. Tonight, I have a very special guest, everybody's favorite idol, Mr. Idol X. He'll be joining us here shortly. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been following me on Twitter, Facebook, my Facebook fan page, even YouTube followers. I do appreciate that. We also have a lot of cool stuff that we're going to talk about tonight. This stuff going back into Vanguard Championship Wrestling, Southside Pro Wrestling, HCW, whole bunch of burning bridges probably going to happen tonight. So we're going to see what exactly happens here tonight. But first, I want to update you guys on some other different stuff going on. Like I've been saying before, I got the new Ron Payne podcast show t-shirts, and they'll be going up for sale in probably about 2 weeks or so. So we're going to see how that all happens. Also, you guys can also get in touch with me on my webpage by going to www.theronpayneshow.com. And sorry about that. I'm just looking at some more emails here from different people who are watching the show. Get to those in a little bit. October 3rd in Norfolk, Virginia, VCW Vanguard Championship Wrestling comes to your town down in Norfolk over at the Mizak Temple over there on Granby Street. So if you guys get a chance, go check them out. Go to their webpage over at VCW or VanguardChampionshipWrestling.com, or you can go to their fan page over at Facebook over at Vanguard Championship Wrestling as well. SPW, Southside Pro Wrestling, Boys and Girls Club, October 10th, Virginia Beach, Virginia. You can go to their webpage at Southside My apologies, guys. I was doing some technical difficulties. Kind of lost something happened, so I do apologize once again. So hopefully you guys could all see me and still hear me. And here come the questions anyway. I'm just gonna see how we're doing. Going to one of the fans, making sure you guys are able to still hear me and see me. I don't know if that's exactly what's going on. Got a pretty bad storm going on, so hopefully you guys are actually able to see me again. And while I'm waiting on the difficulty stuff to get going, let me just let everybody know that, okay, there we go. Now we have, for those that are watching, I do apologize once again. If you guys, hopefully you guys can still hear and see me, so we're going to keep going at this here. Like I was saying, Southside Pro Wrestling Boys and Girls Club, October 10th, down in Virginia Beach, Virginia, spwva.com, 7 o'clock bell time. They also got another show after that, October 24th at Pine Ridge Road, 1130 Pine Ridge Road, Norfolk, Virginia. It's at a Little League place out there. I don't know exactly where it's at, so definitely go check them out. Like I said, go to their website over at spwva.com. We also got Next Evolution Wrestling, Feast or Fears, October 31st, which is Halloween night, so that should be really cool, over at the National Guard Armory in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. So please go check all these guys out. All three of these shows, really big shows. And on top of that, all your wrestlers are all intertwined with these guys. So please go check them out. Support your local independent organizations. Support your local indie wrestlers. And go show them how much you care by being a fan and just love watching these guys. Okay? And just like I promised you guys before, we're going to get in touch with Idol X here now. And we are going to get him onto the show. Now, as I was saying before, Idol X, he's a multi-champion, former VCW Tag Team Champion with Greg Steele over at Vanguard Championship Wrestling. He's also a 2013 for VCW Lutz Cup Champion as well. And he's also got a couple other accomplishments too. We're going to get into that as the show progresses as well. Just waiting for him to join us here. And we'll get the ball rolling. We just recently found out that due to some certain circumstances, we're not too sure what's going on. So hopefully, as time goes by, we'll find out that the Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling Heavyweight Champion, Livid the Clown, who was also one of my former guests on the show, Livid the Clown, was released today due to some other different standards. Don't know what it's about, but hopefully hope for everything that's best in the company for him. And he's saying he's waiting. We'll try to do that again here. And a lot of technical difficulties going on tonight, so please bear with me, guys. I do apologize once again. Well, all right, Alex, but if you are listening, I'm trying to get you connected here now. Waiting for it to go through. And hopefully we get him on here. So I do apologize once again to anybody who's been watching the show. I do apologize. See, we got a lot of viewers, so that's and apparently that Alex isn't getting anything, so we're gonna try to get him on the phone. So let's see if we can do it by phone for right now, and so hopefully he'll get something. All right, Alex, man, you with us?
I'm here, Mr. Payne.
Sorry about all the confusions, man. Got a storm brewing up here, so I don't know, everything's a little messed up. So I do apologize, but welcome to the show, man.
Well, thanks for having me.
How's life down there in Virginia, brother?
Life is good, man. Life is good. A little sore from the cherry flag football game we did with HCW Friday night. I think I pulled my groin or strained it or something.
Well, that's not good,
Makes
man.
my right leg. Nah, man, it makes my right leg still a little heavy, but I'll be all right.
Fair enough. For those that just joined you, I'm here live with Alex. Unfortunately, he would have been on with us face to face, but unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties. So we're going to do this by phone. So hopefully later on we can figure out a problem here and figure out a solution. Got a couple questions, man. Tell me a little bit about your early life, man. Growing up into the business and actually how you got started.
Let me see. Growing up in Norfolk, growing up on NWA wrestling, was at Scope a couple times a month when they ran.
Yeah.
Did up around high school. It was once a month. I was always into it. Kind of just like all the other boys in the area, man. Most of us grew up watching Jim Crockett promotions around here. Of course, Magnum TA was one of my favorite performers.
Oh yeah.
Nikita Koloff, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, Right. Then I guess fast forward to I guess I was about 21. Yeah, about 21 years old. We had all done, I guess, like some backyard stuff. I don't talk about it a whole lot. It was nothing like the stuff you saw on TV like 10 years ago after the whole Mick Foley thing. But, we got together and did a little thing in the backyard. It completely sucked. Didn't know what the hell we were doing. It was, like I said, it was nothing like what backyard wrestling today is. Just us kind of just fucking around in the yard. But it was a show being run. I would want to say it was 96 in Norfolk. A guy named Dexter Holly was running the show.
Okay.
At the old Princess Anne Bingo Hall. Or actually, it was old Princess Anne Bowling Alley that had been gutted and made into like a banquet facility. And everybody was there, man. It was the full Maryland Championship Wrestling clique. It was like Jimmy Cicero was there. Steve Carino was there. Bill Eadie. Tully Blanchard, Serial Thrillers, Shane Helms, and Mike Maverick. Basically, that whole crew. And we saw the marquee. They actually advertised. So we were pretty hyped up for that show for a couple weeks. And we went there and tried to talk to some people. And long story short, I met a couple guys there. They were running a group out of Lynchburg, Virginia, like very, very, very minor league group. It was NAWA, James Wells. Caught on with those guys, trained a little bit in Lynchburg with them, did some shows, totally had no idea what I was doing. Eventually hooked up with Big Daddy, Ronnie Noel. He was running the original VCW. I mean, before Travis Bradshaw became owner.
Yes.
And met some guys through there. Also around about the same time, Steve Carino ran a show down in Rayford, North Carolina. It was a car lot. And once again, it was like who's who of wrestling was there. It was the whole Omega crew. I think actually Joey Matthews had just gotten the business, Christian York.
Yeah.
And I worked 2 matches that day. Like I said, I had no idea what I was doing. Didn't even belong in the ring. Internet was still brand new. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't know the business,
that was still dial-up.
You couldn't just Google. Yeah, you couldn't Google wrestling school. I mean, the guys had it so easy today.
Oh yeah.
Back then, you just had to show up, hope somebody would take you under their wing. So basically, on that show, this is where I actually, I guess, started to learn how to work and train. Because, like I said, there weren't wrestling schools, but at the time, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Who was running. So I worked Mike Maverick in a singles match, and he pretty much busted me up like he should have. I should have been in the ring with him.
Oh yeah.
And then second match I worked today, it was like an all-day thing on a car lot. I ended up working Showtime Ray Storm out of Newport News.
Okay.
And I didn't know him at all, and we worked, and he asked me where I was from, and I told him, and he was like, well, you're kind of local, and he was like, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't.
He's a very humble guy, though. That's what I'll give. He's a humble guy, great athlete. I've gotten my ass kicked a couple times by him too. So especially during training sessions, or even like run-ins when we took on I had a match with Phil Brown with the Platinum Icon, and they did a run-in and he beat the hell out of me. Actually, no. Matter of fact, I actually did have a match with Ray Storm, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, really nice guy.
We hooked up then, and he was trained by Pat Anderson.
Yeah.
Anyway, I pretty much hooked up with him and started traveling with Ray, and we were doing some shows, Virginia, North Carolina, and he pretty much trained me. I mean, but it was at one point he had a wrestling ring, and he was doing ring rentals. Some of the shows he was booked on, some of the shows it was just ring rentals. But I paid my dues by driving out to York County, helping him load the ring in the morning, drive down to the shows, set it up before the show, break it down at the end, and sometime in between, we'd jump in the ring and we'd work. And there were other weekends where he set the ring up in York County in the backyard, and he trained me like that. And so pretty much I learned how to work from Ray Storm, but I also had, I had a lot of guys help me along the way. Around 98, 99, I actually started hooking up. Travis Bradshaw had purchased VCW and started running shows. And there were a lot of guys, and they all helped me in different ways, some more than others. But, guys like Sean Denny actually helped me a little bit in the beginning, Phil Brown, Preston Quinn. Sometimes it may only be jumped in the ring with them for an hour and worked out with them, but they all showed me, a little stuff along the way. So I pretty much probably one of the last guys around here that learned kind of on the road as opposed to going to a training center 2 or 3 days a week. There was really, like, at that time, I'm sure there were schools, but like I said, it wasn't like what they have now, man. You had, like, SPW has had a school for a couple of years, and you got the Hall brothers running a training camp, and then you got Damian Wayne training up in Yorktown.
Yep.
It really wasn't set up that way. I think the best school around that time was probably a couple of years after I started running, was probably the class, one of the best classes probably of wrestlers that ever came out was when BCW ran their school, and you had Preston Quinn and Phil Brown. They were the head trainers, and Damian Wayne comes out of that class, and Mike Booth comes out of that class, and Jack Howard, who had a run as 66 and the Viking, and
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That was probably one of the first ones around here that I know of. I mean, because before that, there were little barns. I remember CW had a barn down in North Carolina.
Yep.
I went down there a couple times and got my ass kicked. But, I was never like a student of CW. I just kind of would go down there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it was. You just a weekend here, weekend there, pop up at a show. And it's probably a harder way to come up. And, there were probably some matches I was in those early years that completely stunk up the joint. But, that's kind of how I broke in. And from then on, it was a couple years on the road with Ray. We did some stuff. We'd get down to South Carolina, a little bit in Georgia, a lot of North Carolina shit. But eventually, that just kind of settled in when he decided that he didn't want to do the stuff on the road anymore. I traveled by myself a little bit, and I've just been keeping it local, man. You know what I'm saying? I hooked up with BCW. That was my home shit for a lot of years. And here I am now.
Yeah, I could definitely understand that, man. Just like you, we've known each other for a long time, in and out of the ring. I could definitely understand where you're coming from. It's really hard to get started in this business, and when you do, you're very fortunate. You're very fortunate.
Oh, they've got it. They've got it so easy now, man. You know what I'm saying? There's training schools everywhere. You got HCW's got a training school. Damian Wayne's got a training school. SPW, I'm not sure if they still got the school, but you got Q-Ball Carmichael down in Carolina. It's going to be one of the premier schools around.
Yep. I remember starting.
You're a young guy now, and you got the internet. You got no excuse not to get trained by some of the best guys in the business. You know what I mean?
Yep. I got trained in New Jersey, in a karate dojo that was actually held in a garage, literally. We had wrestling mats and everything else, and he trained one of the wrestlers that were with us. He had trained. He owned his own karate school out there. Well, where the karate school was is where we trained at. So we were wrestling on mats that were like that thick, and underneath was pure concrete. So these guys that get to wrestle in the ring, man, they got it pretty easy. I didn't start out in all the greatest shapes in the world, but by the time I got into that ring, granted, my first match I had a chop, I think. That was the only thing I had. I literally was a punching bag. I think the first big move I ever took was a coast to coast, and I was hung upside down.
Right.
So it was really bad. Now, the name Idol X, man, how did you actually get that name? Is that something that you had, or was it something that just progressed over time?
Well, when I first started, it was like a carryover from being a kid. I'd throw my brothers around the bedroom, and we'd have these little boots, whether they be cowboy boots or rain galoshes. You know what I'm saying? We were little kids, and I remember one time I made friends, and I would be Jay Youngblood, and my younger brother would be like Richie Steamboat. You know what I mean? And we'd jump off the bunk beds and shit that. But
that was a good time.
Pretty much in high school. There was a band called Guar. They're out of Richmond. A lot of people know Guar.
Guar was actually my first show I ever went to.
Okay. So you know all about the Sexecutioner, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so anyway, I was going to be the Sexecutioner, and let me tell you, everybody starts out with some shitty-ass gimmicks. There was nothing Sexecutioner about me, dude. I didn't have the look of a Sexecutioner. I didn't know what a Sexecutioner was, what a Sexecutioner would do, but I just thought the name sounded cool as shit.
Yeah.
So, we did a show. Ray hooked up with Chris Plano, I believe his name was running an outfit out of North Carolina called New Dimension Wrestling, NDW. This was like at the very end of the 90s. And they were pretty good shows. They always had guys like, he would have older guys like Iron Sheik, Jimmy Valiant, stuff like that book. And then he had like, Hardy Boys would be on the shows and Rock and Roll Express, and then some enhancement guys from Crockett. You know, it was pretty cool shows. There's always somebody there that could like look at your match and pick your shit apart and help you out.
Yeah.
And at that time, like everything that I did had to be picked apart. But anyway, so I did a show with him up at William and Mary College.
Yep.
And you know, we all go through this phase when you first get in the business. You want to see your name in the magazines because you grow up reading Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and you know, it's like it's forbidden because, you know, in the business these days, you're not allowed to be a fan. You're not supposed to give a shit about the magazines, but that's all bullshit, man. We all do what we do, and we want to see our names in a magazine. So fuck all the motherfuckers that think it's stupid.
Oh yeah.
I could not wait for that issue to come out to go to the result and just see the Sexecutioner got beat by Ray Storm in Williamsburg, Virginia. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I'm not listed. It says Mr. X, and I'm like, Mr. X? No, man. The Sexecutioner wrestled Ray Storm. I don't know who Mr. X is.
Yeah.
So I actually picked up the phone and called and talked to the editor, Brandy Mankiewicz. I don't even know how to say her last name. But if you've ever read the magazines, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I actually got her on the phone and said, hey, I'm calling because I was in these results. It was probably like, she probably laughed at me. I was like, you know, you got my name wrong. I'm not Mr. X. You know, I'm the Sexecutioner. And she explained to me that the Sexecutioner would never be printed in wrestling magazines. And it was just, you know, this is 97, 98.
Yeah.
And so she goes, I suggest you change it. And I was like, okay, I didn't know what to do. Well, I started to think of what my gimmick was going to be and how it evolved into what it is now. You know, I grew up listening to Motley Crue, Poison, Warrant, a lot of hair metal, that whole image. And I wanted something that was short and attached to the 80s. And back then, everybody was dyeing the hair like Eminem, blonde.
Yeah.
So I had dyed my hair blonde, but when I wrestled, I would spike it up a little bit. And I was like, okay, well, I could be Idol because Idol sounded cool. Billy Idol, you're attached to the 80s.
All right.
And I always liked Austin Idol. Even though it was funny, even though I never really saw him work until later on YouTube and stuff like that. But I'd grown up reading articles about Austin Idol and just seeing the pictures of Austin Idol, and I just liked them. You know what I'm saying? It was back in the days, we saw Crockett out here. We didn't get Memphis TV. But I always thought Austin Idol was a cool dude. So I said, okay, well, I'll be Idol. And I was like, well, they've already called me Mr. X. So I'll just be Idol X. And you're thinking, you know, we're talking about 99, 98, 99. So it was like the whole Gen X thing and X Games and Extreme. And so, and you know, it's just coming off the heels of the whole ECW, like Revolution. I was like, okay, X.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was Idol X, but I don't even think about that anymore. Now it's just like Idol X is just me. It's just, you know, it just kind of took on a world of its own, and the gimmick kind of evolved to really what is me, just turned up to like 11. You know, I've been lucky enough that on an independent level, I don't have to worry about a promoter dressing me up as a garbage man or telling me, hey, you got to act this way. Like, Idol X is what, shit, I go to concerts, I look like Idol X. It's just built in. I'm Idol X, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I understand. Absolutely.
So, you know, it's a gimmick, but it's not a gimmick. It's just me. And, you know, over the years, I've put a little something fun of it. I've been the glam superstar Idol X and post-apocalyptic punk Idol X. But Idol X is just Idol X. It's just, you know, it's just me, dude. It's just, you've seen pictures. That's just who I am.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, I think this is probably like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Though, every time I see it, you know, it actually does bring a smile to my face. Who's the little girl, man, in all those photos that we keep seeing?
That's my daughter, Alexis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold.
Named after Alexis Lurie.
All right.
No, actually not really named after. I just thought that was a cool name, Alexis, and I could never afford Alexis, so I have an Alexis. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
But
now you have one that can never be taken away.
right.
I could definitely understand
yeah,
that.
That's my girl, man. Through everything, that's my rock. That's my reason for living. And anybody who knows me, she's at all the shows. All the guys know her.
Yep. She is your number one fan. She is, without a shot, your biggest fan to date.
And, you know, and that's another reason I don't really do a whole lot of traveling. I mean, I would travel, but, you know, I'm getting up there in age, man. You know what I mean? And I like to pick and choose my spots. And, you know, I only have the weekends with my daughter. And I could take her on the road with me, but I pick the shows I want to do. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that there are promotions locally here where I can wrestle once, twice a month.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take up my whole weekend. You know, I'm not at a place in my life where I call my daughter on Friday night and say, hey, you know what, baby, let me see you next week. I got to pile in the car and drive down to Columbia, South Carolina to wrestle in front of 25 people and get paid $40, $50 maybe, and then drive all night Saturday night, be tired until Sunday, and then, you know, she gets ripped off. You know what I mean? So,
oh, yeah, I understand. Absolutely.
It's not for a lack of not being able to get a booking, but, you know, pick and choose, man. I mean, I'm currently wrestling for HCW. I'm lucky to be wrestling in front of some decent crowds. Before that, I wrestled for VCW, which ran really good shows. Guys came from all over to work these shows. They just happened to be in my backyard, and you know, I lucked out. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, me and you, we've been personally in the ring. For those who have seen me wrestle, know my background, whatever the case may be. For those of you who've seen Idol X and know their background, his background, everything else like that. Not a lot of people do realize when I had gotten injured, good old Idol X here was actually in the ring with me at that time when I actually broke my arm in 5 different places. And just to let the record show, had nothing to do with him. Just in any business that you're in, you know, shit happens. I didn't move wrong, and it was my own move, standard drop kick, and landed on my arm. It didn't help that he kicked me in the arm just before I went to go tag out, but you know, that's a different story for a different day. But in general, man, when that happened, man, what was going through your mind? I mean, we see injuries, we suffer injuries, but nothing's worse when you're in the ring with that person and you see it happen, you know, face to face.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think. I didn't know, like you said, I kicked your arm. I didn't know the severity of anything until after, because, like you said, you did a drop kick. I believe the show's on, the match is on YouTube.
Yeah, actually, it's actually on my favorite list.
I remember at the time, I think we thought maybe I landed on your arm funny or something, but you did some kind of a drop kick and did like a flip with it or something.
Yep, it's usually my corkscrew.
Yeah, so I had no idea what that you would even hurt yourself when I kicked your arm.
Yeah.
It sucked. I remember. I think you left the match early.
Well, sort of. I was
kind
of underneath the ring.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I felt really bad. It's funny, man. There's some haters around here. You know, I am a stiff son of a bitch. But like, to be completely honest with you, unless somebody's withholding information, that's really like the only time that I can remember somebody really being hurt in the ring with me. Well, you know, I've had guys that have wrestled me that probably felt like they were in a fight for about an hour afterwards. But I've never knocked anybody's teeth out. You know, everybody's got haters in this business, and I have the majority. I've probably got the most haters. Yeah. And it fucking kills me that these guys talk about Idol X as reckless. Well, actually, it's only a couple guys, and then they're spineless followers who will agree with everything they say and don't even know what the fuck the guys are talking about. But it's been said I'm reckless and this and that. But dude, I used to get up every Sunday morning and see these guys put their little pictures up on YouTube, and they have teeth busted out and stitches in their head and black eyes and broken noses. And I'm like, thinking to myself, well, who's the stiff bastard that did this? Because I can't remember ever knocking anybody's teeth out or breaking anybody's nose or blacking anybody's eye. I mean,
don't get me wrong,
I
kicked somebody by mistake.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, we wrestle in small, intimate venues, man.
Yep.
Where the furthest guy from the ring on the back wall is 40 feet from the ring. And
I actually stopped doing a move because I kept kicking people. And that was a kick in the corner. And all it was a kick. It was a high, big boot, and they were just in the corner, and I'd kick them. It was kind of like that move, the player's boot. You know, I'd go up, kick him in the face. I'd feel bad, but I couldn't tell that during a match, you know. So right. I stopped doing the move all in all, and now a lot of people are scared of, you know, when I do my super kicks. Well, when I did do my super kick, you know, but you know, never ever really ever hurt somebody to where
I see it two ways, man. There are guys, I understand the whole working life, and there's an art to it. I get that 100%.
Yeah.
And if we were on a WWE schedule and we were working 5 nights a week and twice on Saturday, like back in the day, it's necessary. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because you can't go out there and kill yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, on the indies, man, what are the guys? But once, twice a week, if they feel a forearm across their back for 15 minutes after the match, suck it up or get the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've never been in a ring with anybody. I prefer to be hit. I prefer contact. And I don't complain. Now, you know, keep it out of the teeth, keep it out of the face.
Yeah.
But if somebody's going to punch me in the gut and they don't pull the punch enough and I actually feel it, man, we're supposed to be fucking athletes. And people will suspend their belief to a point, man. But some of this patty cake shit, I prefer not to participate in, you know, and it's you know, it's made me enemies. There's some guys who don't want to work with me, but at the same time, bro, there are guys who prefer to work that way.
Yeah.
And, you know, those are good matches. I mean, probably the most respected guy that I've been in a ring with who took everything that I could give to him, and he would give it back to me. And I'm sure to work a lighter style if it calls for it. But the reason.
Yes.
Jonathan Elliott.
Yep.
Bad motherfucker, man. Like, he would give it to me. Every time I was in the ring with him a couple times, and both times he fucking brought it. You know what I mean? Dirty Bunny's another one. He can work light as a feather if you guys want to work, but he could dish it out and he could take it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like guys like that. Newer guys is my bro, Livid the Clown. I didn't really even know the guy the first time we worked in HCW. I was kind of like a surprise on the show. Nobody knew I was there, and I ended up working a real short match that was supposed to set up a ladder match at the next show, and I just told him, he said, "What do you want to do out there?" I said, "They're giving us 5 minutes to sell the next show." I said, "Let's go out there and make these people want to see us wrestle each other in a ladder match."
Yeah.
And that's what we did. And then we went out there and we did the ladder match. No injuries. You know, my back hurt all the time. Like I said, I played flag football Friday night and I was hurt today. So
yeah.
But you know, went out there and had a great match. I'm not saying it was a 5-star match or nothing like that. I'm not one of those guys, but we had a match that entertained the crowd. Crowd was into it the whole time. The boys ever watched it from the curtain. They said it was a good match. You know, I don't want to get heat because I know guys are listening right now and they're going to be on the Facebook later talking about, Alex said he had a great match.
Yeah. I'm
just saying a great match to me is not popping the boys in the back, because there are plenty of guys who pop the boys in the back, and I've been there, and the crowd is sitting on their hands with their thumbs straight up their asses. They could give a shit less. But it's a great match. You know what I'm saying? Technically, it's good stuff, but the crowd don't give a shit. And that's sad, you know? It's not fair to the guys either.
I've always liked that old saying.
It's not fair to the guys that bust their ass. What's that?
I've always liked that old saying. I'm not in there to impress the boys in the back. I'm out there to steal the show. Because if if the fans feel that you steal the show, then you do your job.
Exactly, man. You know, you can have a million spots that you want to do, and you might not have time for half of them. But you know, that crowd was entertained, and I'm not talking about entertaining the 4 or 5 smart that you have at every show that can't wait to go sit in mom's basement and type up a little report about how good the show was, and you know, get their nipples all sticky when another indie worker likes their comment. I'm not talking about performing for those guys. I'm talking about the kids in the crowd, you know, the real wrestling fans. That's who I want to entertain. I could give a shit less about, you know, there are guys, you know, like Vincent Michaels. I love Vincent Michaels, but I don't perform to impress Vincent Michaels. You know what I mean? That's not who Idol X is. You're never going to satisfy those guys. Those guys are there to criticize. That's what they are. They're critics. Yep. And I'm glad we have guys like that, because guys like that do talk and they get a certain element of your ticket buyers in the building.
Yep.
And they'll do their little blogs and they'll do their little videos and they'll get some buzz going for your show. But ultimately, those aren't the guys you're out to impress, because they're a very small percentage of the crowd that you're going to have at an independent show.
Yeah,
the people that you have at an independent show, they're not following you on Facebook. They're not watching the video. They're the kids, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They're the kids like we were when we were watching Ivan Koloff and Blackjack Mulligan and shit, and scared to death to get popcorn. You know, there were times I sat second row in Norfolk Scope, and I would never get cotton candy because I was afraid Ivan Koloff was going to take that shit from me. You know what I'm saying? Those are the kids. That's the age. That's who I perform for. Yeah. Those are the guys who think it's cool as shit to take an Idol X sticker and put it on Strapper Keeper for the first day of school. That's what I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for Vincent Michaels. I do like Vincent Michaels, and I enjoy the stuff they did. And, you know, a lot of times these guys, they bring up some good points, and, you know, they've got some good ideas. But what they need to do is not take themselves too seriously and think the show's about them, because the show isn't about them. You know what I mean? You may have a couple people watch your videos, and next thing you know, you're talking like you're a character, you're part of the show.
Yeah.
Man, you're just the guy who bought a ticket. You know what I'm saying? So just don't cross that line. Be a fan. We appreciate you. But, you know, I've heard stuff like, you know, they're not responding, and you know, it's not that we're not watching or we're not listening or HCW's not listening. But, I mean, come on, dude. Does John Cena have a Facebook account? People say John Cena sucks. John Cena doesn't get on Facebook after a fucking kick-ass match with Kevin Owens and go, see, I told you so. I told you I'm good.
Yep.
They don't give a fuck, because the guys are paying money to see them perform. And that's it at the end of the day.
Don't get me wrong.
If we're doing our job, the people are coming back. And right now, HCW, and I've been in this area for a long time, for good or for bad, HCW is putting fans in the seats. Now, do certain performers sell tickets? Well, yes. But that's what the business is. Nobody's required to sell tickets. But if you got a hometown promotion and you've got 15 guys booked and 10 of them live in the town,
yep,
then I do think there's a little bit of responsibility on those two performers who can get out there and pass out flyers or you know, walk through a toy store and see like two little kids looking at action figures. You got a flyer in your pocket and say, hey, look, kid, man, you like wrestling? We're wrestling next Saturday in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Come check us out. I don't see anything wrong with that, but, you know, we get heat for that. But, you know, I think a lot of it is sour grapes, because some of these guys are fucking awesome talents, man.
We used to do that in North Carolina.
And they're wrestling there. Yeah, and they're wrestling in front of bullshit crowds. I mean, they deserve to be in front of thousands of people, and they're wrestling in front of bullshit crowds. And then we got a group like HCW where I'll admit some of the guys are really green, but they are talented, and they are performing in front of decent crowds. And I think that's where a lot of the resentment comes from.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear a lot of guys talking, HCW needs to go away. If you stop talking about them, it'll go away. The thing is, man, you know as well as I know, on any given Saturday night, there are dozens of shit indie shows in Virginia and North Carolina, correct?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. There are dozens. Do you hear anybody talking about them? You don't hear it. I couldn't name you any. I mean, I know the good shows. NEW, you know, Damian Wayne, Bo Crockett. I know of those shows. I know of SPW. You know, I know of, what is it, Shockwave. You know, those are great shows. Those aren't shitty shows. Those are good shows.
Yep. I was part of NEW. I was part of SPW. I was part of HCW at one point, actually. I'm actually a former employee of Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling.
Outside of that, though, bro, there are dozens of shows that nobody talks about. They're
exactly.
Shit. No-name guys with no-name gear having some bullshit matches. Yep. Nobody talks about it. Do you know why? Because they're not relevant. The difference is people want to shut HCW down. If HCW wasn't doing something right, or ruffling something, then why do they even talk about it? It would be just like one of the guys said on the internet. Well, if we stop talking about it, they'll just go away.
Yep.
Dude, We're not going to go away
I remember that.
Stop talking about it. You're not buying a ticket. See, the 100, 250, 500, those people there are coming to the shows. They're not reading it. They're coming back.
Yeah.
Are some shows better than others? Of course there are.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely right.
Sometimes, but the fans are coming to entertain. If there were 25 people showing up to these shows, certain guys in the business wouldn't give a fuck. You would never hear them talk about it. They're only talking about it because the people are there. If the people weren't there, we'd be a laughing stock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the people are there, and it's like a party, and they feel like they weren't invited. The difference is these guys were invited. When I joined HCW, a lot of the guys had already worked for HCW.
Yeah.
That's why I never understood. I left BCW, and it became like the big freaking deal. Oh, Idol X left BCW, and now he's working for HCW. Now HCW is shit. The funny thing was, 6 months before that, when everybody else was working for HCW along with BCW and SPW, and they said, Idol X, you need to branch out. You're only working for one brand. You need to work for more than one company.
Yeah.
And while everybody's doing it. So I leave and go, and now it's like, oh, God, you left BCW. I'm like, people have come and gone from that company forever.
Yeah.
And it was no big deal. Dude, the reasons I left are the stuff of legends depending upon what prick you listen to. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It just depends on what bullshit stories somebody's trying to spin.
You're
The
absolutely
reason
right.
I left BCW is very simple and very boring. And I'm going to give it to you, and I know when you had me on the show, you were like, I got Idol X.
Oh, I already knew what was going to happen. I made that announcement way before this interview even started.
The thing is, this is the letdown, dude. The reason I left BCW is far more boring than anything else that you've ever read. I wrestled for BCW for years. I loved BCW. I liked the venues. I liked that everybody showed up professional. I liked being one of the guys in the locker room where there are certain shows where I felt like I didn't belong because the talent was that good. You know what I'm saying? When you're sitting in the back and you're lacing your boots up and you see Dirty Money on one side, and then you look to your left and you see Phil Brown, and then you look next to Phil Brown and you got C.W. Anderson there, and he's talking to Tommy Dreamer.
Yep.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm a lucky motherfucker to even be in this locker room right now.
Yep.
Even though when I walk through that curtain, I'm a star. When I'm sitting there putting my boots on, I'm feeling like a lucky motherfucker that I can be on a show.
You realize how humble you are when you enter that locker room.
Yeah. So I was there for a lot of years, man. I enjoyed myself there. Basically, what it broke down to was the end of last year. I had come off a 2 or 3 month little angle with Mugabe the Cannibal. It was the end of the year. I wrestled him in a loser leaves BCW match. And I've been having some issues in my mind because I've been around the business so long. I'm just jaded. Everybody walks in the back and wants to shake everybody's hand, and there's a brotherhood, so to speak. Dude, there may be a brotherhood and there may be cliques of people who are friends, but there are no true friends in this business. Well, I'm not going to say there's no true friends. I've made a couple friends, but
excuse me, real quick,
Alex. They try to make it sound like. If you think you have a lot of friends, go away, man.
Yeah.
Go away for 6 months because of a personal problem, or break your leg or break your ankle, and I guarantee you can count on your hands and have fingers left over to people who call and genuinely give a shit about what you're doing.
Real
so I
quick,
had a personal problem with a guy in the locker room.
Hold that thought real quick. I do apologize for interrupting you. For anybody that's online or whatever the case may be, I do have an announcement to make. Legendary filmmaker Wes Craven had passed away today. 76 years old. So I do apologize, Alex. I thought that was real interesting to announce real quick because I'm a huge fan of Wes Craven.
Oh, for sure. He's a lot bigger star than Alex.
But go right ahead. I do apologize. That was kind of like
I'll jump back into it. So I just had a personal problem with one of the talents, and one of the talents has been, he's a pretty respected guy in the area. But
okay.
A lot of stuff got back to me about what he was saying about me behind my back, but at the same time, being stoned in my face. I just got tired of it. I'm at a point where I'm 5'11", maybe 6 foot with the lifts in my boots, bro. and I'm 233 pounds on a fat day, need to be about 220. At my age and technical prowess, I'm not going to be signed to the WWE. It's just realistic.
Yep.
You know, it's something that a lot of the guys around this area that have the egos need to fucking understand also. But, you know, I get it, and I know my place.
Now, were you one of those guys who tried out for Tough Enough that sent in the video?
No, not at all. Dude, I know what they're looking for, man. If you're under 6 foot tall, you have to be extraordinary, and I'm not extraordinary. But anyway, so at this stage in my career, I got to do it. I do it to entertain, man. I love to entertain people. I love the rush of coming through that curtain. I love the rush of performing. But at the same time, it's got to be fun, man. Nobody's getting rich doing the shit. It got to be where it wasn't fun for me to know that I'm being surrounded by people who want to stab me in the back.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, is people that I knew for years, never thought I had a problem. Now, did I have heat? Yeah, I always had a little bit of heat because I didn't come in, you know, the traditional way, you know? So
yeah.
It takes a lot of years to gain somebody's respect. And after 13, 14, 15 years, you're still around, a lot of guys came around and started giving me some respect. You know what I mean? Okay, this guy might have been a jabroni in 97, became straight from the backyard, and he didn't go to Body Slammers Wrestling School and bumfuck wherever, you know what I'm saying? But I've had lasting power, and, you know, with that comes a little bit of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just wasn't fun anymore, man. I just got tired of dealing with shit. So, you know, I didn't have these issues when I was in bullshit matches, jerking the curtain. They had me, you know, I won the Lutz Cup, and there was some people started talking a little bit more shit, and then you know, there was some talk about maybe being VCW champion. I had a match at 30. And it just seemed like right around that time, man, I started experiencing stuff I'd never experienced before. Like, people just genuinely, like, burying me to the bookers and promoter. And I'm just like, what the fuck, man? I've never had a bad thing to say about any of these guys. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this. It was December. I got word that they were changing bookers, and Spencer Chestnut was coming in to be the booker of VCW.
Yes.
I knew Spencer from doing shows. Talked to him about Dallas Cowboys a little bit, small talk, but I wouldn't say we were like close friends. I mean, I've only got a couple close friends I've ever met in wrestling. You know, guys that I would consider friends. You know what I mean? I like Ross and James Hall, the Hall Stars, Chotch. You know, the Home of Food Store.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple other guys that I like that don't seem like they get caught up in the shit that was making me ill. But so Spencer was taking over as booker, and I knew he was tight with one of the guys who I was having an issue with, and I just said, you know what, fuck this. I sent him a message in December and said, look, man, I just don't want to work for you guys anymore. I don't want to share a locker room with particular people, and it's just time for me to move on. That was it.
Fair enough.
I mean, it was just that. No drama, no nothing. And I didn't even think it was a big deal, dude, because for a month I hadn't been in contact with Travis. I hadn't been in contact with Jerry. You know, everybody knows Travis is the owner. Jerry was one of the bookers or head writers or whatever. They weren't talking to me. I didn't think I'd be missed. It didn't matter. You know, like my last feud was with Mugabe. For the simple fact there was nothing else for me. You know, they needed somebody to fill that role and be part of a storyline that ultimately would run Mugabe out of the territory so he could take care of some personal issues. And that was it. So I just figured, okay, I quit and go home.
Yeah.
Then it takes on a life of its own, man. I've heard stories that angles were pitched that I didn't agree with and this and that. I mean, I just was done with VCW, dude. To be completely honest, nobody contacted me about anything. People say I hit Travis Bradshaw from left field. And, you know, I've heard that I was supposed to work with Preston Quinn, or 2 months later I was supposed to be in a main event or title. I quit for reasons. It wouldn't have mattered if they called me January 6th and said, hey, Idol, we're going to book you to win the title in February. I would have been like, whatever, dude. It didn't matter. I didn't quit for an angle. I quit because it was no longer fun. You know? And there's great guys there. It's a great company. It sucked. You know? When I was like, man, I'm quitting this, I had friends of mine saying, you know, what are you doing, man? You quit VCW. They're hot. And I was like, I know, man, but, you know, I'm just not going to deal with the bullshit, you know? That's all it was. I just didn't want to deal with the bullshit. It had nothing to do with who I was working or what kind of matches I was having or spots on the card. And, you know, I just figured the feeling was mutual because it ain't like my phone was ringing off the hook. I hadn't talked to Travis or nothing. It just kind of took on I don't know, a life of its own, all these different stories of why I quit. Or, you know, it was no argument with anybody. The last show was great. You know, I worked with Gobby and everything was cool. I figured I'd be getting a call back and, you know, be working. And I just gave notice like anybody else. You know, it was weeks out from the next show and I hadn't heard that I was doing anything. And I just sent an email. As a matter of fact, I saw that it was read and never got a response. So, you know, take that for what you will. I mean, Travis never contacted me. Jerry never contacted me. It was a group I wrestled for years, bro. And, you know, to have nobody even call and say, well, why? Yeah. You know what I mean? I did talk to Jerry a couple times, and Jerry was like, could you just kill the heat? You know, nobody quits over heat. Everybody has heat with people. Other than Jerry talking to me a couple times, man, that was it. So I went home and sat for a little while, and, you know, I just had this desire to work, to perform anyway, and I started hearing about ECW, man. They were running this little building here in Norfolk. Yeah. You know, it didn't hold but maybe 125 people, and that was like wall to wall, sitting in people's laps, dude. Hot, dark ass, little building, like on the edge of like the greatest neighborhood.
Now we're talking about were we talking about the same building that was there on Tidewater?
I'm sorry, yeah. This is the one that was off of
the newest one.
No, not the newest one. It was the one between the one they called the Underground. It was next to an Advance Auto.
Oh, gotcha.
Like
okay.
Little building. So I hear that they're running shows there, and I'm like, well, fuck, man. You know, I haven't done nothing in a while, and I just wanted to check some stuff out. Dude, I went in there, and let me tell you, like I said, I loved VCW. VCW runs one of the best venues that I've ever wrestled in.
Oh, yeah.
It's heated. It's got AC. It's got a nice stage, a nice comfortable locker room you can spread out in. It's got the lights, the way the seats are theater style, and you got your floor. It's a fucking great building. It's the kind of building where when you meet people on a job, like say you're at a shoot job, and they go, "Oh, you wrestle?" And you go, "Yeah, man. Why don't you come check out a show?" You know, you don't want to tell the guy, "Hey, man, come check me out," and it be, you know, SPW WrestlePlex off of Oceana Boulevard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you tell them to come to Masada Temple, you're telling them to come to an event. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like VCW. It was an event, man. It was professional looking. But at the same time, man, you know, the crowds had been down. And, you know, a lot of people were very vocal about it at the time. Like, you know, you had certain guys from Fusion talking about maybe VCW shouldn't run that building. If you can't put people in it, it should run. Ironic thing is, some of those same people who were trashing VCW, now they're working for VCW. Yep. And that's my issue with this area, man. There's so many hypocritical ass people. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? There are people working for Travis who swore they would never work for Travis Bradshaw. But, you know, when shows run out and you got to have a place to work, well, now Travis Bradshaw is the best promoter ever lived, and let me go do the show. It's like nobody's fucking real but Idol X. So, anyway, back to HCW. I walk into the building, man, and it's this fucking shithole of a building. Like, it's a fucking garage. Like I said, the ring fits in there. There is 3 or 4 feet on 3 sides of the ring before you hit a wall. Yeah. Everybody is shoehorned into one side. But it was a different crowd, bro. There were people in that crowd that I hadn't seen, and I've been wrestling in this area for years. It was a totally different crowd. They were loud. I could hear them from the outside. It was loud, dude. It was more of a street crowd almost. You know what I'm saying? It was like a different environment. The only thing I can liken it to is if people were talking about maybe going to a TV taping at Disney for WCW, and then they go into Viking Hall in Philadelphia for ECW in the early years when it was just that grit feel, just something totally different going on.
Oh yeah, I understand. You know what I mean? I actually used to help put up the rings over at ECW when I lived out in Philly, so I understand.
So on a much smaller scale now, I'm not comparing ECW to ECW. I'm just saying the attitude, you know, it just had that feel.
Yeah.
And at this stage, I'm like, you know what, man? This is fucking cool, man. The whole punk rock element of Idol X, the whole look, the whole gimmick, just who I am, dude. I would rather go see a band at the old Boathouse or some small theater like the Norva versus the Virginia Beach Amphitheater. Same band playing the same songs, to me, in a venue that is just more gritty. You know what I'm saying? Just a couple holes in the walls, fucking chairs being a little crooked, you know, it appealed to me. And I was like, man, this is fucking sweet. And it might have just been, it's a personal thing, you know what I mean? And it's not everybody's cup of tea. So I went and checked that show out, and then I reached out to the owner. I said, look, I stopped by the show. I like what I saw, man. It's fucking cool. It's gritty. It's street. You know, it's a little bit more punk rock. I said I'd like to be part of it. So he invited me back, and I did that little angle with Livid, and I was welcomed into the company basically with open arms, man. They were glad to have me. There have been bumps in the road, but man, I love HCW, man. You know that they're in the bigger building now.
Yes, I saw that.
They're in a bigger building out downtown Norfolk, not too far from Russell Middle School, next to the Food Bank of Virginia. It's a big warehouse, but it's like the underground, but bigger. You know, at the underground, we were literally sitting on each other's laps, putting our pants on. It was that tight in the back. They got, you know, it's a great facility, but everything's painted black. It's dark. You got the lights over the ring. Maybe still only getting me about, shit, I don't even really know. You have to contact BTOR to see what we squeezed in that building last time, because they're always there to get the check. That's another thing about HCW. A lot of people talk shit about HCW. The commissioner knows now if there is any dispute, anybody wants to talk shit about whether or not they draw crowds or not. BTOR is at every HCW show. You know why? Because they know they're going to leave with a decent check.
Yeah.
BTOR gets a percentage of every ass that's in every seat. And they know when the HCW is running, they're going to get a check. And it sucks. Because then I got BTOR at my ass and I can't do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, the bigger building, it keeps the same attitude and the same vibe as the underground. We call it the Iron Throne. We did one show there, packed it out, and I have no evidence as to who called who or whatever, but fire marshal got involved, which is a good problem to have in the indies these days. If the fire marshal say, hey, you're putting too many people in a building. So anyway, that got us shut down for a couple months, man. You had to make some improvements to the building, you know, and there's stuff that made sense. You know, it had to have a couple more fire alarms go up, a couple exits marked a little bit more clear, even though there was two giant garage doors that were raised to let air in the place because the AC had gone out earlier that afternoon, but it is heated and air conditioned.
Yeah.
We'll be back there soon. We have a show coming up September 12th. Venue, we don't know, but we're going to be back at the Iron Throne. And if anybody wants to come see a show that is got a punk rock feel, a street feel, check out the Iron Throne. It's a totally different experience, man. It's a great time. The crowds have changed. It's not that first crowd, man. It's a little rough, man. But HCW has a lot of kids, man. A lot of kids in the crowd, and they're good to perform for, man. You know, when you're in the ring, you're larger than life to a 6-year-old, and they get loud. They're not too cool to get into the show. Every now and then we got a couple sexy women in the crowd, and that's always good. And then you got your hardcore wrestling fans. You know, you got your hardcore little comic book reading Comic-Con type guys. They're there.
Oh yeah.
You know, just don't believe the hype. There's a lot of bad shit. Come to a show, experience it, man. You know, and any listeners out there that have read a lot of shit online and say, oh, I don't want to give HCW a chance, just give them a chance. Come on and just sit and take the show in. It's action-packed, man. There's some great talent in HCW, man. You got the Juggernaut. You know what I'm saying? Got big-ass Breon Holt. He is the Rebel Saint. I mean, we got some good guys. Living the Clown.
Believe it or not, Breon Holt is actually listening to us live right now. So
who's that? Rebel Saint?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, man. He's going to be a guy that's going to be around. You got Kid Falcon. He's badass. Black Vega. I mean, these guys are incredible. I had a match with Kid Falcon a few shows back, and it was one of the better matches I've probably had in 5 or 6 years. As a matter of fact, Sam Bass is a pretty respected guy in the area. He was watching from the curtain. And, you know, I don't get a whole lot of compliments from established guys because I'm not in that inner circle clique. You know, nobody.
Yeah, I know what clique you're talking about.
So to come through the curtain and have Sam Bass say, man, that was fucking great. It made me feel really good. And it was because I was in the ring with Kid Falcon. And, you know, the shit was called in the ring, bro. I mean, everything I've done in HCW has been called in the ring. And for guys who have been criticized because they're too green or it's too early, man, I've been in the ring with these guys. I've called it in the ring, and the crowds have been into it, man. I'm not saying they've all been fucking 4 or 5-star matches. I'm not up here to say that. I'm just saying the crowds have been entertained.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what it's all about. So if you haven't been to an ACW show and you've only heard Vincent Michaels talk or a couple dogs barking, buy a ticket, man. Come to the show.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a great time. It's independent wrestling, you know. The guys haven't been around for 15, 20 years. But you know what, man? And I'm not saying it because I've already said that these guys in this area, some of these guys that have been around for 15 or 20 years, are some of the best wrestlers in the country right now.
Yeah.
But if you're tired of seeing the same shit, come to HCW.
Fair enough.
New talent. It's raw talent. It's a little rough around the edges. But these are the guys who are going to be around in 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Give them a shot, man, because they're all good. They're all humble guys. You know, they're all willing to learn. You know, it sucks. It really hurts me that I hear so many guys talking shit about a product because maybe they don't agree with the owner of the company and some of the ways he runs things. These guys need to be given a shot, man. Any of you veterans who are listening to this show right now, don't judge these guys and fucking say I'm not talking or messing with them because I don't agree with HCW, or maybe you wanted to be booked and you didn't get booked. Pull these guys aside, man. These guys are humble and willing to learn, and they're going to be around. They just need a shot, man. That's all. That's all any of us need is a shot. And a lot of these guys with these fucking egos, and some of them have gone on to do things, but there are also some guys out here who have big fucking egos, who have been around guys who went on and did bigger things and never did shit. And for them guys to have an ego and be talking down to guys who are doing nothing but busting their ass, doing the best they know how to do to get out there and perform, it's just bullshit, man. They need to look in the mirror and really see who they are.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
If your claim to fame is getting in a car and going to another show with 50 people there, check your fucking ego at the door, bro. Because you ain't no better than anybody else. Now, can you put on a better match in the ring? I'm sure you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're on the same level. You know what I mean? You're at the same level, man. I mean, there are guys in minor league baseball, man, playing for the Norfolk Tides that probably have been to the big dance, and maybe they're rehabbing an injury, or maybe they're in a slump. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't think that they walk in with a giant ego and just shit all over everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And this whole shit about, well, they're working for a company I don't like, dude, everybody here, listen, guys who are listening to this podcast right now, you have all worked for everybody in town.
Mm-hmm.
You have all, at different periods in your career, had a problem with those promoters and talked crap and said, I'll never work for them again. And there you go again. So remember that shit when you're trashing shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they're trashing HCW now. HCW gets a big sponsor and starts to put 400 or 500 people in a building. Those would be the first people sending emails when they get booked. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because
absolutely.
like I said, when I was at BCW waving the flag, there was nobody in Fusion that wanted to work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, guys did, but I mean, the general consensus was, oh, well, BCW, we're not going to work for them. And they're back. And I'm not saying there's anything bad about it, but just remember that when you're trashing a group.
Yeah.
You know, everybody trashed Mark at one point and wouldn't work for SPW.
Yep.
But then everybody rolls through there. Everybody trashes Travis at some point, but then everybody works there. The difference is I've never trashed anybody. I've never trashed Mark. I've never trashed Travis. To this day, I haven't trashed Travis in VCW. There was some of my best times during VCW. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it had to come to an end. There was nothing there for me. You know what I'm saying? I went as high as I was going to go.
Yeah.
HCW with a clean slate. Those guys let me be me. I get to work with a whole new crew of guys. And outside of wrestling, dude, they're good guys.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
sure anybody that's connected to the scene has probably seen Payne and I at the shows, man. You know, it's a girl who is very special to me. Her dad passed away after a long illness and devastated her. She had no life insurance. There was medical bills because he didn't qualify for Medicaid and other things like that. She was paying out of pocket, man, private pay for as long as I've known her, you know, at these nursing homes, and that's like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, depending upon the facility. Every time he had to be rushed to the ER from one of these facilities, she didn't have the option of writing a $50 copay for the ambulance ride. That ambulance ride was like $1,000. You know what I mean? It drained her financially. So he died 2 weeks ago. We just buried him on Friday. HCW came together, man. All the guys.
And that was
all
for the
came
flag
together.
football.
We played in a charity football game. It was just, I don't even know how to say it. It was, when I was talking earlier about a brotherhood and everybody shaking hands and being part of a brotherhood, and I didn't feel that in VCW.
Yeah.
What I feel in HCW is that brotherhood. Those guys didn't have to come out there. It was a Friday night, man. Everyone contributed $20 to play in this football game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We had over 20 guys, man, come out and play a pickup and a quick flag football game on a Friday night. It was a great time. And it wasn't just wrestlers. It was a few fans. It was sponsors and family of the sponsors. And they all come together in different ways. But that football game, that's brotherhood, man. And, you know, people want to say, why are you all about HCW? That's why. For everything negative that somebody can say about HCW and how they run business, something like that, the way they give back to community in other ways. It wasn't just helping Amy, man. You know, Will is active in youth coaching, sports, mentoring.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of stuff that he doesn't get credit for. You know, if HCW, our slogan is, it's not just wrestling, it's an experience. It's not just about wrestling. You know, and I've had my disagreements with the owner. And I went home and well, I don't even think I missed the show actually, but I went home and I was pretty pissed off about it. And I just didn't know where it was coming from on that issue. And we sat down and we worked shit out like men. And you know, I've been there. And now my brother in Payne or Matt with the Clowns having a little issue. You know, I know you didn't want to get into it, but
that's why I brought it up in the beginning. You know, I just sat there. I made the announcement.
Yeah, I didn't hear. Yeah, I mean, that's my boy, man. Living the Clown had my back through thick and thin. He's one of the guys who I met when I went to HCW. Actually, I had met him at a Liberty Lottery for VCW about a year before.
Yeah.
And kind of talked a little bit back and forth on Facebook, but never really got to know the guy until we hooked up in HCW. And outside of wrestling, man, he's a good guy. Loves the business. You know, everybody's going to make mistakes here and there. You know, I know he's had a falling out with New before and whatever. It's all political bullshit. But, you know, if you're listening, Livid, you're my boy. If you need to call, give me a call. Well, you know, shit always works out. Here's the thing about Livid that Livid needs to understand. Your wrestling promoter does not have to like you. If you do not have to like your wrestling promoter in this business. If you can put asses in the seats, people want to see you perform, you'll have a job. You know what I'm saying? It might not be with HCW. It might be with somebody else. It might not be now. It might be 6 months from now. Is he the greatest wrestler in the area? None of us are. But the dude is entertaining as hell. Every time he's in the ring, the fans are into it. People come to see Livid. You know, when you're an independent show and guys have signs, that's the proof is in the pudding there, man. For however they got there. You know, the dude does a lot of fucking good stuff. He's at Dave & Buster's for pay-per-views. He's spreading the word. You know, people see him and get to know Livid the Clown, and they come out and they see him wrestle, and then they end up liking him, and then they buy a ticket to the next show. And if that's the wrong way of doing business, is to be out there and put your gimmick out there and have people say, hey, I want to come see this guy wrestle. Then they come see him wrestle, and then they want to buy a ticket to come back and see him on the next show. If that's the wrong way, then fucking keep your right way, dude, because I want to do it the wrong way. I want people to see us, want to know what we're about, buy a ticket to the show. You know, hey, let's do it the wrong way, man, and wrestle in front of 300 people. Or let's do it the right way and drive an hour and a half and wrestle in front of 16. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it could be, and I just don't understand the hate. I just don't get it, man. See, have some constructive criticism, that's fine. But all this hate and BS It's bullshit. And I appreciate you giving me this avenue to talk and say it's all bullshit, because in case nobody's noticed, we're not responding to the bullshit on the Facebook anymore and the internet. Those guys, it's like preaching to the fucking choir. You know?
Yeah.
You got guys that throw out little sound bites, and then you got their little minions clicking like. And some of these guys have never even seen, you know, they want to talk shit about me. They've never seen me or met me. But they don't want to piss off the guy making the comment because that guy's got stroke.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, thankfully, we've gotten smarter than that, and we don't even respond to it, man. Do we read it and laugh about it? We do, boys. We're reading. But, you know, you're not gonna get us into a little argument on your Facebook anymore. That's just bullshit.
Yeah.
We go to the show. We entertain the people, and that's all we're about. And good luck to those other guys, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Good luck to them, because I don't have a personal problem with the majority of those guys at all. I've known some of these guys for years. I wish I was as talented as some of these guys. You know what I mean? I'm a fucking character, bro. I'm Idol X. I mean, I'm not going to go in there and work a match like Chris Benoit. But, you know, I don't think people buying the tickets want to see a match like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
And if they do, it's great. If they do, it's great. Man, Hogan wasn't the best guy. He could work, but he didn't do it. He did his 4 or 5 moves, man. The biggest guys in the last 15 or 20 years, man, Hogan, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, John Cena, man, they're not going in there trying to fucking, you know, if you want to do Ring of Honor, be Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Go do that, man. Ring of Honor is a niche product.
Yep.
The mainstream wrestling fan, they're not giving a shit about Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was at the Norfolk Scope, man. They drew about 100 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was there.
Rebel Saint just
they're
messaged me.
They're on TV. It's like, that's not what the people want. The people want to have an old school wrestling show. They want to be entertained. They want fat guys. They want skinny guys. They want tall guys. They want assholes. They want little baby faces. They want the mean burly looking dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think indies need to be. You need to have a cross section of everybody. And everybody not trying to work one style to pop the boys in the back. Man, that was great. That was awesome. Dude, if the people didn't see it, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If a tree falls in the woods and doesn't make a sound, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's the saying? Like, some of these guys are fucking high-fiving and patting each other on the ass about having kick-ass matches, and there's nobody there to see it. And then bragging about their books 10 times a week, 10 times a month. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody can go out and get bookings. Pick your spots, man. You know, if you're doing that and you're young and you need to move on, dude, I get it. You need to work everywhere. You need to work different people and get good. But don't trash talk a guy who doesn't go on the road every weekend for his own reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand.
I have my reasons I don't go on the road every week. What's it going to do for me, man? I go on the road this weekend and drive 7 hours, and I work in front of 9 people. Or say it, let's not exaggerate. Say I work in front of 75 people, okay?
Yeah.
What's the best thing at this stage of my career going to come out of it? Somebody in the back may have ties to another promoter that might work another 2 hours away that runs shows once or twice a month in front of 50 people, may give me a booking. Just because I'm not interested in that doesn't mean that I love this business any less. It's just what I choose to do.
Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right.
Anyway, that was a little bit fucking long-winded, but you had to expect this, right? You knew.
Oh, no. I knew what to expect, you know. Rebel Saint actually just messaged, and he says he wants to give a shout-out to his boy, X. Glad that he's made his home in our house. And I can't wait to lock up with him in the squared circle and tear down the house like I know we can. Also, shout out to me, of course. He says, you know, continue the podcast and stuff like that. Rebel Saint, man, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. And I'm here with Idol X right now, and he's taking control, man. So your shout out was definitely
let me just shut up for a second. Let you ask me some questions.
Well, actually, believe it or not, you actually answered all my questions. Believe it or not, there is one big question I do want to ask you before we get out of here. We got about 10 minutes left, so I want to get this question out here because this is one that's been stirring up a lot as of late, and we speak of Vincent Michaels and everything else like that. So here we go with this. All right. What happened with this so-called contract?
Man. I told you everything. Well, see, I'm glad I get to address this because my name was dragged through the mud by the dick click.
I understand.
What happened was there was a contract application or whatever, and I'm gonna just leave it at this. It was given to me. I wasn't 100% in understanding of what it was because it isn't the way it's been construed. You know what I mean? There was money attached to it, much in the same way there's money attached to the new contract that was just posted on Damian Wayne's page last week. If you're a worker, it's $50 a month, and you can go train there, and it's part of a gym. You get what I'm saying? It's just like the same thing. Damian Wayne's got a school. He had a beginner's class, and it was a monetary amount attached to it. And he had an advanced class, and then he had like workers' dues if you wanted to just go there and I get bought and trained and work on shit and get polished up. Basically the same thing is all it was. Willie has this big building, and there's lights and there's AC and there's electricity and there's hot Wi-Fi and it's not just a wrestling facility. I mean, he's doing some boxing classes in there, and he's had youth groups in there with football, and it's basically it was ring dues is what it was. Could the contract been worded a little different? It did look damaged. Basically, where I got brought into the controversy was I didn't understand it. I didn't like the way it was presented to me at the time. We've since worked that out. I shared it with the guy I trusted. One guy. One.
Yeah, I know. And
O-N-E.
I'm not going to bring that up. Okay.
I shared it with one guy. Now, this is what pisses me off about it. And I'm not even calling that one guy out. Because whatever. It's fixed. It's over. It's done with. I got no ill feelings. It is what it is. But I shared it with one guy to get an opinion on what I should do. In the meantime, the owner of ACW and I sat down like two grown men. He wanted to know what I had a problem with. I explained it. He explained the situation. We come up with a compromise. Boom, I'm back in ACW. Everything's great. 3, 4, 5 weeks later, I can't remember how long it has been. This shit blows up on the internet.
Yep. And that's when I saw it.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with going up there. What I have a problem with is people who have a personal axe to grind against me, saw fit to make comments like, Idol X shows his true colors. See, he's not loyal. See what he's doing. It was basically said that I was out to destroy HCW and I was a rat and I threw it online. Dude, with that clique of fucking bozos, all it takes is one guy to fucking give it to another guy. And next thing you know, they're having a circle jerk by proxy, sharing it with one another.
And it goes viral, worse than Facebook.
You know what I'm saying? And it just takes on this thing, but nobody wanted to put the heat on themselves. Who's the perfect fall guy? Oh, let's say Idol X put it all over the internet. I didn't put it all over the internet, man. I sent it to a guy asking for advice, and I don't know why it took so long for the guy. That's what really surprised me, because I was working I was doing something the day it all went down. And by that evening, it was everywhere, and people were calling me, and I was getting shit canned, and I'm like, well, what's going on? And guys from HCW who didn't really know me, they're saying, oh, well, Idol X has put this contract out, and he's trash me. Dude, I never put that contract on Facebook. If somebody can show me a screenshot of where Idol X posted that contract online.
Yeah. Because I first saw it through somebody else's Facebook honestly, I've been trying to get on this podcast show for a while, and no offense to Vincent Michaels, but he was the one I was trying to get on the podcast because that's where everybody saw it. And they saw it through a comment actually on Facebook. And because you were I kept hearing about this. It got so bad to where
it was out there before Vincent Michaels. I hope I didn't just blow anything.
Yeah. You never got that chance, though. You had never gotten that chance to speak your name.
Yeah, Vincent Michaels took a story that blew up. He knew about it. We had discussions about it when I was on my hiatus.
Yeah.
And this is one thing I will say about Mr. Michaels. Mr. Michaels went online every day trashing HCW.
I know.
Every day. I can't wait for around lunchtime every day to see the new video. It's like clockwork, right?
Yeah.
The way he trashes HCW, if he wanted to smear me or smear the company in that way, it would have gone up the day after he had it.
Yep.
Get what I'm saying? Mr. Michaels knew the terms of what all that was for weeks. Never said a word until it blew up on the internet and they made a video about it.
Yeah.
Mr. Michaels is not at fault for anything. And to be honest with you, here's the thing, man. It's a dead subject. None of that even matters. That contract came out. It was a contract that was given to talent. There was nothing to really hide from. Is it inside business that should have been kept in-house? In retrospect,
Absolutely.
yes, it probably should have been kept in-house.
Yeah.
I fell on that sword. I've apologized for even sharing it with somebody who I thought, wouldn't share it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
So basically, I'm at fault for trusting people, and I guess I should have known better than trust anybody in this business, especially when it has anything to do with me. But that ship has sailed, man. Like, everybody at HCW knows I had nothing malicious. It was something I didn't understand. I sat home for a couple of weeks. We worked shit out. It's done. And then the boys who wanted to have something talked about blew it up. And it goes back to the beginning of our conversation, man. If we're not relevant, then why jump on everything we do? Just fucking don't talk about it, man.
Yeah.
They were all invited, man. I mean, there are guys who were online dogging the product, dogging the company. At the same time, sending emails out, reaching out to be booked for said company.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the business, man. You've been around long enough to know that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
As long as you're getting booked, man, the guy's the greatest in the world. If you ain't getting booked, that guy's a dickhead.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
HCW has an open door policy. See, this is the thing.
I remember the open door policy.
If HCW thinks that you can come to the show and sell some tickets and people want to see you, they're a business, man. They're a business. Come in and work. We've had Bo Crockett on the shows. We've had Sam Bass on the shows. I've been there. Sam Bass on the shows. We've had Curtis Mack on the shows. We've had Asafi on the shows.
Yep.
Since I've been part of the company, they wrestle everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
See, what most people don't realize.
There's a certain clique. The difference is there's a clique that's been running things around here for 10, 15 years, and they've been running things their way. And it's the same show no matter what ADC is in front of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just not business as usual. What Willie told me when I went to talk to him, he said he didn't give a damn what I did with BCW. He would give me an opportunity. And if I got over with the crowd, he booked me again. He said if I went out there and the fans shit on it, those are his fans. He didn't give a shit if I was a former BCW champion, current BCW champion. He didn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's not business as usual. It's what it's what you can do for the company. It doesn't matter how many places you've worked or how long you've worked at a certain place. And I think maybe that just rubs certain people the wrong way because they wanted to come in and like, well, I'm the man here, and now I'm just, I got to prove myself again. Well, it's a different audience, man.
Yeah.
And if you got what it takes, man, come and do it. Come and do it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. Idol X, man.
Just getting started, man. What the hell?
Well, actually, I was gonna ask you if you want to be back on the show Tuesday night.
Tuesday night. Yeah, I get back with you. Let you know. Maybe we can do this again.
Oh yeah.
And here's the thing: if I've opened up any worms, I'm sure you have 2 days. If you're listening, if you're a fan, if you're in the business, if you got an issue with anything I said, send questions to the Ron Payne podcast show, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Clarify myself. I think I was a good boy. I didn't call out anybody. Didn't name any names.
You're
people
good
know what
today.
the issues are. If the fucking shoe fits, asshole, wear it. But I didn't call you out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't call any names. So nobody knows what I'm talking about unless you fit the description. If you fit the description, F off. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Idol X, man, I want to say thank you for being on my show, man. I had a pleasure shooting the shit with you, man. I definitely wish the best endeavors, especially with the future, man, because you never know what the future is going to bring. And hopefully I can have you back on the show here soon. And, for those that are listening take into consideration, especially what Idlex has said, you know. And foremost, you know, I say every single show, support your local indie wrestlers. Support your local
Support
shows.
everybody. The talent deserves to wrestle in front of crowds.
Yes.
No matter if I like it personally or not, you guys are all talented. I don't take nothing away from you.
Yep.
Hey, come up with more creative ways, man. If you guys got to sell tickets personally, sell tickets personally, man. You need to have people in the seats. If you wrestle in front of nobody, you ain't doing shit. Support your local indies, man.
Yep.
Get the word out. Everybody deserves to wrestle in front of a crowd.
Yep, absolutely. You guys go on Facebook, message Idlex, you know, say hi, give him a shout out, tell him what a great job he did tonight. Tell him what kind of shitty job he did. Whatever the case would be, give him a shout out. Support your local indie wrestlers, guys, indie shows. Go check out the website, www.theronpayneshow.com. You guys can also check out some videos here on YouTube for those that are watching or subscribers as well. I'm also on Twitter at the Ron Payne Show, Ron Payne Podcast Show on Twitter as well. Idlex, he's also got a Twitter app, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Real Idlex.
Real Idlex, there you go. Idlex, man, thank you very much, man. And thank you guys for tuning in to the Ron Payne Podcast Show. And just stay real. Best advice I can give anybody at this point. Stay real, and hope to have you guys back real soon. Idlex, thanks again, man. I appreciate it, bud.
Thank you, brother.
All right, bud.
Later.
Guys, you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys Tuesday night.